Alright everyone, welcome back again. So there was something I've been wanting to check out considering it was updated, and it's the the servant status menu of the whole deal. Considering I never really checked it out in the original VN when I was playing it, now I want to check it out in the remastered because there was a new menu. And I like the, look at this is nice. I like the, what you call, the new outlook for it. So we got Saber, Master Shiro Emiya, true name. Her strength is B. I don't know what CON means. Is it concentrate? I don't know. Her agility is C. Magic and luck are pretty good. They're in the B's. And her noble phantasm is C. Don't understand why. Her hero info is still blockaded. Her skill is magic resistance A. She can cancel all magic craft below A. In reality, modern mages cannot hurt Saber. Her riding class is B. The riding ability can ride most things better than the average person, but can't ride beasts that are demonic and holy ranked beasts. Her intuition is A, which actually makes sense for her character. The ability to constantly sense the best course of action for oneself during battle. A well-honed sixth sense akin to precognition. It reduces disturbances that interfere with vision and hearing by half. And mana bursts, A. It wraps magical energy around her weapon or her own body, and improves its abilities by releasing that energy in an instant. In other words, it is a jet thruster made of magical energy. Not only does Saber use magical energy for swordplay, she also utilizes it for defense and movement. She is able to fight Berserker despite having the physique of a young girl because of her massive amount of magical energy. An ordinary weapon that has no powerful divine protection cannot endure her magical energy-filled attacks and would be destroyed with a single blow. Which is why it's a good thing we know what her actual weapon is and why it can withstand such magical bursts. And her noble phantasm is the Barrier of the Wind King, the Unseen Sword. It's a rank C type anti-personal, range 1 to 2, max targets 1 item. Unseen Sword, it doesn't let the enemy know the weapon's distance. It is simple but proves to be tremendously effective in hand-to-hand combat. It is a noble phantasm protected by a powerful magecraft, so it does not mean that the sword itself is invisible. The sword blade sheathed in wind changes the refractive index of light and makes the original shape of the sword invisible. It is not exactly a vacuum state, but the wind wrapped around the blade itself is a lethal weapon and seems to increase the destructive power of slashing attacks. It can only create a vacuum state in the instant that the compressed wind is released. In instances where the target of the attack has resistance modifications caused by the visual disturbances, modification of hit accuracy due to Barrier of the Wind King will be ineffective. Sorry for the long pause on that. In addition to making the blade invisible, it can also release the compress of wind and shoot. I don't know why it's like that. Why is the T here? It should at least move the word shoot to here then. Ah well. As a single-use projectile weapon. In that case, the damage is limited and isn't affected by Saber's own magical energy or physical strength. I like that. That's cool. Archer status this time. His strength is D. Okay, I guess I can kind of see that. Concentration C, agility C. I feel like his agility should be B though. His magic that makes sense. B. Luck is nothing. He has no noble phantasm. I mean, I guess. Or it's not unlocked yet. He does though. Magic resistance D. Nullifies usage of magecraft in one step. Single action. Magic resistance that is comparable to that of a magic protection amulet. Okay. Independent action B. The ability to be independent for a while even if the supply of magical energy from one's master runs out. That makes perfect sense considering the second route. Yep, okay. If they are B rank, it is possible to stay in this world for 2 days even if they lose their master. That is incredibly detailed. It's a shame we can't know all of it, and we won't get anything on Rider at all until later. Same with Caster, but we can get a little bit of Berserker. Holy crap. That makes sense though. Strength A, concentration A, agility. Okay, agility, he's a pretty big dude. Okay, but magic makes sense. Luck, his luck should be C. But I guess if he has 9 lives, no, not 9, 12. There you go. Noble Phantasm A, okay, that all makes sense. True name Heracles, I know. The greatest hero in Greek mythology, the demigod hero is a product of the chief deity, Zeus, and a human woman. Heracles was skilled in every aspect, but there was a big problem with his personality. During his childhood, he beat his liar teacher to death over a trivial matter. He then spent his days as a shepherd until adulthood, in order to reform himself into a composed man. Heracles, who grew up to be a fine young man, accomplished many great deeds that caused the king of Thebes to grant his daughter, Megara, to him. They had 2 children, and he earned the right to succeed the king. Heracles was young and strong and had already become an existence that no human could hope to defeat. It seemed as if the rest of Heracles' life with his family was going to be smooth sailing. However, Zeus' wife Hera detested Heracles because he was a child of Zeus and a human and influenced his fate at every opportunity. Hera instilled madness in Heracles, which made him go insane, and he ended up killing Megara and his 2 children. Troubled by the sins that he committed, he received an oracle. He was to atone by becoming a slave for Eurystheus, the man who snatched the kingship that would have originally been his to claim. Eurystheus was jealous of the strong hero Heracles and gave him many difficult tasks, declaring that he would stay a slave until he finished them. Hence the 12 labors of Heracles. They were all labors that could not be achieved by regular humans. They became widely known as the 12 labors of Heracles. There you go. There were only 10 labors that the gods had imposed as punishment for Heracles' sins. But 2 more labors were added by Eurystheus because he did not approve of the fulfillment of 2 of them. But Heracles managed to complete even those tasks, and it may have been because he had just been granted freedom, but he had received an immortal body as proof of his great deeds. This marked the beginning of the legend of the greatest hero of Greece, Heracles, who accomplished deeds equivalent to the Argo expedition and the Trojan War by himself. However, Heracles' life after that was filled with madness. Hera's hatred was endless, and Heracles, who was supposed to be immortal, was poisoned by one of his wives. I didn't like that. The great hero who fought a competitive battle against the sun god as a human was slowly getting killed due to the god's persistent jealousy. While on the verge of his death, Heracles burned his own body, which was still affected with poison, and entrusted himself to Zeus' judgment. The gods approved of Heracles' great deeds in conference and prepared the seat for him in Olympus after his death, effectively deifying him. Heracles went mad many times in Greek mythology, but originally he was an excellent soldier who could use any weapon. Heracles actually possessed attributes that could allow him to be categorized as any of the regular servant classes excluding Castor. The best noble phantasm that he owns was earned during the 12 labors. It is a bow and arrow called 9 lives. Whoa, look at that. Alright, class skill, Madness Enhancement B. It increases the rank of the parameter but takes away most of one's reasoning. That makes perfect sense. Battle Continuation A. The ability to survive. Make it possible to fight on the verge of death and survive as long as there are no definitive fatal wounds. Mind's Eye. False. Avoiding danger by intuition or sixth sense. Valor A+, the ability to nullify mental interference such as coercion, confusion, and bedazzlement. You know what? That makes the most sense considering he has been essentially manipulated by Hera and his other wife. It also has the effect of increasing combat damage. However, because he is currently being madness enhanced due to class ability, the skill cannot take effect. Divinity A. Whether or not one has divine spirit aptitude, the higher it is, the more physically mixed with divine spirits one is. Being Zeus' son and having been welcomed to the gods after his death, Heracles' divine spirit aptitude can be considered to be of the highest class. That is so cool. And we can't do much with weapons considering the only weapon we have is Berserkers. The stone sword that Berserker uses. The Einspurns procured it from the foundation of a temple and used it as a catalyst to summon Heracles. Heracles was especially proficient with the bow, but he has lost his weapons and technique due to his madness enhancement. Alright, cool. I like that. So far, all we really got is information on Berserker and Saber. Not a lot on... Wait, did we check Lancer? No, we did not. We skipped him. Strength B for him. C for Khan. Agility A. That makes perfect sense for him. Magic C. Luck. Okay, that's true. Lancers don't have a lot of luck considering. Noble Phantasm B. Okay, hero info. The great hero of Ireland. The demigod hero born of Lu, a god of light, and the king of Ulster. Concobar's young sister, Dectine. I believe that's how you pronounce it, I could be wrong. His childhood name was Setanta, and he was predicted to live as a hero. Cuchulainn means Kulan savage dog. When Setanta was young, he accidentally killed the guard dog of a wealthy merchant, Kulan. Setanta swore, if this dog has a child, I'll raise it to be strong and loyal like him. Until then, I shall protect you with my life, hence the name. Okay. As an adult, Cuchulainn would travel to the demon-infested land of shadows to win the hand of his future wife. After overcoming many obstacles, he arrived in the land of shadows and earns the favor of the witch Skatak. Skatak was the ruler of the land of shadows, and under her, Cuchulainn learned many magical and physical techniques. Subsequently, he acquires the weapon that would come to represent him, the demonic spear known as Gaybolg. He leaves the land of shadows spear in hand. According to the legends, Cuchulainn is a brave, compassionate, and pleasant young man. He defeats his enemies mercilessly in battle, but is a man of integrity who's never broken a promise. Celtic soldiers have a custom. They make an oath, gias, and soldiers who violate their oath fall under a curse. In accordance with his namesake, Cuchulainn made an oath to never eat dogs for the rest of his life. He tried his best to keep the oath, but it helped cause his death. In order to protect his country of Ulster, lacking in might as it was, Cuchulainn exchanged oaths with his enemies, sometimes at his own expense. His famous oaths include the oath he took with his archenemy Queen Meb to fight only one soldier a day, and the oath he made with his foster father Fergus to yield him in battle. Both of these incidents are invoked in the history of the war between Ulster and the neighboring country of Connacht. Interesting. War began with Meb, Queen of Connacht, invaded Ulster. Her aim was to steal Ulster's golden bull to win a bet against her husband. Cuchulainn led the small Ulster army against a myriad assembled forces of Connacht and drove them back after 7 years of fighting. At that time, Cuchulainn captures Meb but releases her, having sworn an oath not to kill women. Ulster and Connacht reconcile in the aftermath, but Queen Meb has Fergus killed in revenge, viewing Cuchulainn's mercy as an insult. Look at that. No luck in his own story either. Eventually, Cuchulainn would be forced to break all of his oaths, sapped of all his strength. He is pierced in the side with his spear. Prideful Cuchulainn refuses to die on the ground and ties his body to a pillar to remain upright. On the verge of death, he sees an otter floating in the river, drinking its own blood. He lets out a laugh, tickled by its destructive hunger. He then dies on his feet. Now, legendary hero Cuchulainn attains the divine protection of Morgan, goddess of war and fate, who had power over death. Of course, Cuchulainn immediately starts causing trouble. First, he rejects Morgan's protection. This enrages her, and so she takes the forms of many animals and tries to kill him. Cuchulainn repels all of her attacks and, having bested her, heals her wounds. Morgan admires his kindness and integrity and thus resolves to support him from behind the scenes. In order to preserve his pride, she keeps watch over him while taking care not to intervene directly in his predicaments. Oh wow, that is so cool. I would never have guessed that about Cuchulainn. Then again, I don't know much about, Celtic folklore. His magic resistance to C nullifies magecraft from incantations shorter than 2 measures, doesn't block large-scale magecraft such as grand magecraft or ritual and mantras. Battle continuation A doesn't know when to give up, pretty much the same as almost every other servant. Makes it possible to fight on the verge of death and can survive as long as there are no definitive fatal wounds. Pretty much close to Archer and Saber. Yeah. Disengage. C, the ability to withdraw from battle. It can also reset a losing battle back to the beginning, the first turn, and reset the conditions of protecting back to their initial value. Divinity B. Whether or not one has Divine Spirit aptitude, the higher it is, the more physically mixed with Divine Spirit one is. I think that's similar to Berserker. And his Noble Phantasm. Soaring Spear that plunges with death. Rank B, anti-personal, range 2 to 4, max targets 1 person. A cursed spear that always pierces one's heart if it strikes. A fatal thrust from the demonic spear Gaebolg. Its true ability is to reverse cause and effect, causing the spear to thrust after it has already penetrated the opponent's heart. Since the spear has struck before even being thrust, it's impossible to defend or prevent it. The result has already been decided. High agility cannot prevent Gaebolg. Instead, high luck is necessary to reverse one's fortunes before Gaebolg is activated. Hence, Saber able to outmaneuver it. Not necessarily dodge it, because she barely did it. But so far, I like this. This is cool. I was never able to check out the servant status in the original Ultimate Edition because I never really got a chance to, nor did I remember to. But I also noticed that this had a better outlook for it, considering it was the remastered version, so I wanted to check that out with you guys. So, now that we have, until it updates, we'll continue on with the main story. I'm speechless. Every time Saber fights, she loses magical energy, and there's no way for her to replace it. If she's used that much magical energy already, how much longer can Saber stay here?
分かってもらえましたか、マスター。そのため、私は少しでも魔力の消費を抑えなければならない。供給がないのなら、あとは睡眠することで魔力の消費を抑えるしかありません。
睡眠。眠れば魔力は回復するのか。
わかりません。ですが最低でも眠っている間は魔力を使わない。ですからこれからできる限りの睡眠を許してほしいのです。 常にシロを守ることはできなくなりますが、それも勝利のためと受け入れてほしい。
I sigh in relief. Thank goodness. I'll give her whatever she asks, if that's all there is to it.
そんなのいいに決まってるだろ。辛くなったらセイバーは休んでいいんだ。それで少しでも長くいられるんだったらその方がずっといい。
では今後は頻繁に眠りに入りますが、その間は決して屋敷から離れないように。遠く離れた場所でシロが襲われた場合、私はすぐに駆けつけられない。空間を跳躍するなら話は別ですが、そんな能力を持つサーバントは稀です。もし離れた場所で私を呼ぶのなら、レイジのバックアップが必要になります。ですからできるだけ私から離れないようにしてほしい。
As much as I would like to, I can't really agree. I can't imagine life with Saber sticking by my side all the time, and I do have my own life to live too.
努力はする。けど本当にそれだけでいいんだな。眠っていれば
問題はないでしょう。このようなことはなかったので断言はできませんが、前回も総戦闘数は7回に満たなかった。私が倒さずともサーバントはサーバントによって減っていくのですから。
そうか。別に全員が全員とやり合わなくちゃいけないってわけじゃないんだ。うまくすれば簡単にこの戦いを終わらせることができる。
The only people I need to fight are those who start doing things no person should. I can't imagine all 7 would be like that. Even Tosaka, who seems eager to fight, would still abide by the rules of mages. And as long as the other 5 masters act humanely, I have no intention of fighting them. Saber even said she didn't fight 7 times last time, so this time around. Hold on a minute. Last time, fewer than 7 times?
待ってくれセイバー。以前もセイバーだったのか。いやそうじゃなくて、前回も聖杯戦争に参加してたっていうのか。
私がこの聖杯の争いに参加するのは2度目です。その時も私はセイバーでした。中には複数のクラス属性を持つ英霊もいるようですが、私はセイバーにしか該当しません。
I remember something Tosaka said. She said that out of the 7 servant classes, Saber is the best one. And this girl says that she has been summoned as the class twice in a row.
それじゃ以前は最後まで残ったのか。
無論です。前回は今のような制約はありませんでしたから、他のサーバントに遅れを取ることもなかった。
Saber says this as if it should be obvious. Her statement forces me to realize something. The sword in my possession now is not something I'm worthy of. I don't deserve her.
入ったな。それじゃ不満だろうセイバー。俺みたいなのがマスターだと。
私は与えられた役割をこなすだけです。聖杯さえ手に入るのであればマスターに不満はありません。
そっか。それは助かるけど、それでも。
She used to be fully prepared and in capable hands, but she's been injured twice already. All because she can't replenish her magical energy. That means she'll constantly have to consider how much magical energy she has left as she fights. And because she needs to fight with all these restrictions in her last battle, she wound up covered in her own blood. The image still haunts my mind. I still see that girl, smaller and slightly slighter than me, being so brutally injured.
シロ、その後悔は余分なことです。
She can read minds? Saber's voice snaps me back to reality.
私も負け知らずだったわけではありません。私は勝ちきれなかったからこそ、こうしてあなたのサーバントになっている。傷を負うことには慣れていますから、あなたが悔やむことなどない。
慣れてるって、あんな死ぬような怪我でもか。
ええ。剣を取るということは傷つくということです。それはあなたも同じでしょう。私。
それはそうだけど、それじゃ怪我をしても構わないっていうのか、セイバーは。
それが死に至る傷でなければ、死んでしまってはマスターを守れなくなりますから。
なんだそれ。マスターを守るためなら傷を負っても構わないなんていうのか、お前は。
それがサーバントの役割ですから。確かにリンの言葉は正論ですね。サーバントを人間として扱う必要などない。私たちはマスターを守るための道具です。あなたもそれを正しく把握するべきだ。
Having said her piece, Saber walks towards the sliding door. There's a room opposite of the screen door. My room has always been big enough for me, so I've never used the adjacent room.
睡眠をとります。夕食時には起きますので、外出するのなら声をかけてください。
The sliding door opens quietly, then slides back shut.
私たちはマスターを守るための道具です。あなたもそれを正しく把握するべきだ。
なんだそれ。
It pisses me off, but I can't say that out loud, so I just take in Saber's words and stand alone, perplexed. I sit at the edge of the veranda and mindlessly look up at the blue sky. I may not be sleeping during the day like Saber, but I still need rest. I'm not nauseous anymore, but I still feel terrible. On top of all that, the unexpected things that have happened are weighing heavily on me. Take a deep breath and look blankly out over the yard. I asked about everything I needed to know and I got answers, but I'm no less lost for it. And yet Tosaka, my senior as a mage, or rather, a full-fledged master, is completely nonchalant about the whole situation.
ねえ、余ってるクッションとかない？あとビーカーと分度器。
She's busy scouring the house for stuff.
クッションなら隣の客間のを持ってけ。けどビーカーと分度器なんて普通の家には置いてない。
は？信じられない。魔術師なら実験用具ぐらい置いておくものよ。
Complaining loudly, she turns and heads back toward the detached building.
本当に本気みたいだな、遠坂のやつ。
And the matter of her staying overnight seems to also be settled. When I peeked into the detached building earlier, she already picked out the best room for herself. She even put up a sign that read, "Remodeling in progress. Do not enter."
別棟なら遠いし問題はないよな。
Having Saber around already has me on edge, but if Tosaka were close too, there'd be nowhere for me to relax anymore. The attached building is far enough, and even though it's connected by a corridor, it feels like it's a neighboring house. As long as I keep my distance, nothing bad should happen. Oh, but I guess we'll see each other during meals. And there's only one bath here, so we'll have to decide when each of us will use it. Wait a minute, Saber's a girl too, so...
ってバカ、何考えてんだ俺は。
I shake my head violently and slump back onto the floor. But what must be my millionth sigh today, I stare blankly up at the sky. I'm getting drowsy. Must be more tired than I realize.
もうどうにでも。
I just go ahead and close my eyes. Apparently not caring at all works wonders. The moment I close my eyes, I drift right off to sleep. The next thing I know, the sun has long since set, and Saber and Tosaka and I have gathered around the living room. I've only just woken up, and Saber is already in the living room. And Tosaka had just finished remodeling her room. By the way, this is what the guest room looked like a few hours ago. But now,
シロ、あのエアコンどう使うの？
this is what I saw after being summoned for something so trivial. Even Fujine wouldn't have bothered me with it. The room is transformed into this. I sure know how to pick a teammate. I'm uncomfortable. My house is playing host to not one but two invaders. I'm all the more unsettled because I so rarely have guests here. Actually, These two don't even look like they belong in Japanese-style house to begin with. The time is almost 7 o'clock at night. They're in the living room, but staying quiet and doing nothing isn't really good for my mental well-being.
二人とも少しいいか。今後のことで話をしておきたいんだけど。
ちょっと待って。その前に一つ決めておきたいんだけど、いいかしら。
いいけど、なんだよ。
何って夕食のことよ。シロずっと一人暮らしだったのよね。
まあそういうことになるけど。
なら食事は自分で作ってきたのよね。
そりゃ作るだろう。食べなくちゃ腹減るんだから。
さなら提案なんだけど、夕食の当番は交代制にしない？これからしばらく一緒に暮らすんだし、その方が助かるでしょ。
確かにそうだな。ついいつもの調子で考えてたけど、遠坂がうちで暮らすなら家族と同じだ。飯ぐらい作るのは当たり前だし、俺も楽でいいや。
決まりね。じゃあ今日はシロが当番ってことで。もうこんな時間だし、作戦会議は食べてからにしよう。
いや、夕飯が交代制なのはいいけど、朝飯はどうするんだ？朝飯も交代制か？
ああ、朝はいいのよ。私食べないから。
なんだそりゃ。勝手なこと言うな。朝飯ぐらい食べないと大きくなれないぞ。
余計なお世話よ。人の生活スタイルに口を挟まないでちょうだい。とにかく今日の夕食はシローが作るの。ちゃんとした食べ物を出さないと話なんてしないからね。
And so begins the origin of Waifu Shiro. For the life of me, I don't know what set her off, but Tosaka glares at me irritated.
わかったよ。勝手に作るけど、セイバーも飯は食うんだろ？
用意してもらえるのでしたらぜひ。食事は重要な活力源ですから。
了解。それじゃおとなしくしてろよ、二人とも。
I grab my apron and head to the kitchen. Luckily, there are enough ingredients for a meal for 3. I turned on the rice cooker right when I woke up, so it should be done in about half an hour. I glanced towards Tosaka and Saber from the kitchen. Those two look like they would prefer eating Western-style meals over Japanese meals. I seriously doubt Saber would like tofu and natto, to say nothing of Tosaka.
いや、そもそも箸を持てないんじゃないかな、セイバー。
I hesitate for a minute, but there's no point worrying about this now. There's only a few dishes I can make with the ingredients I have right now. I have tofu. I think for a moment and decide to make deep-fried tofu. I also decide to make a simple tofu and seaweed soup. Since I have some chicken prepped, I'll use that to make teriyaki chicken as the main dish. I drained the water from the tofu, seasoned the chicken, and cut the daikon into thin strips to make a crunchy salad. I also grate the daikon to make a sauce and saute some shishito peppers. Almost couldn't read that.
今後の方針は決まっているのですか、リン？
さあ、情報がないから何とも言えないけど、とりあえずは他のマスターを探し出すことが先決かな。残るマスターはあと4人。こっちがマスターだって知られずに探し出したいけど、さすがにうまくはいかないわよね。
I told them to be good. They're on a pretty disturbing topic. Don't they see I'm busy making dinner for the 3 of us? Not even looking over here.
遠坂、4人じゃないぞ、5人だろ。マスターだって分かっているのは俺とお前しかいないじゃないか。
I shout my contribution from the kitchen, holding the big frying pot to make the deep-fried tofu.
何言ってるのよ。私とシロ、それにイリアスフィールで3人でしょ。あなた、バザーカーのこともう忘れたの？
Oh, right. That little girl's also a master. I completely forgotten about her since Berserker left such a vivid impression on me. But now I remember that little girl is a master too, and she tried to kill us without a second's hesitation.
どうせね、あなたのことだからイリアスフィールを敵だって認識してなかったんでしょ。それはいいから調理に専念しなさいってば。シローの実力がわからないと私が困るんだから。
I don't know that my cooking skills are gonna be problematic to Tosaka, but she's right. The food prep's pretty much done, so I need to concentrate and finish the dishes now.